Assalamu alaikum and a very pleasant morning, girls. Today we are going to see Ode to Nightingales, symbol, imagery and theme. Okay, imagery and symbolism in Ode to Nightingale. Okay, girls. Here, imagery and symbolism in Ode to Nightingale. That is, Ode to Nightingale is a symbolism, right? Yes or no? The Nightingale, and particularly its song, is the poem's central image and symbol. The music it produces becomes a symbol of pure beauty. Okay, girls. It is not restricted by translatable meaning as words are. It is direct communication from the world of nature to that of human beings. The responses of each hearer being unique and equally valid. The bird song is therefore unlike the products of the human imagination. Art, poetry, music, and sculpture need to be interpreted and may need education to be appreciated. The bird song derives its power and directness from the fact that it is pure, non-representational, and needs no interpretation to be understood and to inspire. Okay, since the nightingale sings chiefly at night, it may appear invisible or disembodied. In this way, it can be seen as transcending the transitory human world, thus making it appear immortal. That is, here the presentation of nightingale and its song refers to the purity of nature, beauty of nature. Okay, it doesn't need any interpretation or any explanation. Okay, then death is also a symbol, imagery used by John Keats. Okay, here the poem also contains images associated with death, such as hemlock, leaf, emblemed, darkness, requiem, tolling bell, plaintive anthem, etc. These are all the representation of death. Okay, which associates the image of death. Is that clear? Okay. When associated with parsley, fret, and despair, death is a negative presence that quenches the human spirit. But death also has positive associations. It is easeful, a rich experience which releases the poet into a pain from eternity. Okay. Can you get my points, girls? Death is both the thing as negative as well as the positive. Okay, all living things are of course subject to death. This is why the nightingale can only be considered immortal as a symbol. We know that the bird is also going to die. It has death, but the song which will live forever. Okay, that is immortal. The poet is saying nightingale can also that is, all living things are of course subject to death. This is why the nightingale can only be considered as immortal as a symbol because of its song. Individual bird die, but the species continues. However, a symbol, lack of the warmth of an actual living creature. Hence, Keats' oblivious towards it. Okay. Themes in Ode to Nightingale. What are all the themes you have seen in the Nightingale poem, girls? Have you listened those stanzas? Those seven stanzas. It is clear. Okay. Now we'll see the theme. The power of the imagination is also one of the theme. This is not a poem about how birds' joyful singing inspires and revitalizes the poet. Instead, what follows is a troubled mediation on the power of human imagination to encounter joy within the world and for it to transform the soul. What Keats refers to elsewhere as part of the veil of soul making. There is a fundamental paradox in the poem. On the one hand, the Nightingale's song is seen as offering relief from the day-to-day pains of living, the weariness, the fever, and the fret. On the other hand, the immortality of the bird and the eternal nature of its song makes Keats painfully aware of human transience and the fragility of his own life. Okay, that is the power of imagination is one of the theme. And escape. Escape is also one of the major theme in Ode to Nightingale. The poet imagines escaping from humanity's tragic existence, because in Keats, in this poem, Keats wants to be fly with that is Nightingale and don't want that is disappear from the world, unseen to the world, right? Yes or no? That is, he wants to escape from the reality of humanity's tragic existence, where youth grows pale and a spectre thin and dies, first through an ecstasy of intoxication, drinking a beakers full of warm south, and then the viewless wings of poesy, that is through imagination itself. In the central section of the poem, the mind's attempt both to transcend life and remain aware of itself. That is, after that, the next stanza, he comes to the reality and says that I can't fly with Nightingale, but I will fly with poesy, with imagination. That is fanciful poetry, right? I told you in the previous class. Yes or no, girls? Okay. That is the viewless wings of poesy. It is the both the thing. Okay, transcends life and remain aware of itself, leads to its becoming lost. Keats describes an emblemed darkness of transitory sensations under the canopy of the trees surrounding him that suggests not escape but rather death. Okay, understood, ma? Then, the snare of immortality. These thoughts of mortality, however, are in sharp contrast to what the Nightingale itself symbolizes. Immortality, in ancient days, it belongs to a world of enchantment. It is the same song that. In other words, its enticement is dangerous. The word forlorn is a turning point for the poet. Keats uses the word in two main senses, that is, long ago and sad. The beauty of an imagined long ago seems to evaporate, as so often in Keats, the contemplation of beauty leads to a painful awareness that perfection cannot last. The human imagination allows us to transcend the mind's transitory sensations. Is it clear, ma? Here he is asking question, that is, can beauty be transfixed? The artist can create beauty and is able to awaken in his audience a desire to experience beauty as something eternal. However, this is just an illusion. Human life is subject to time and change, subject to change. It is changing, like a small, that is a born baby, and after that a toddler, right? And after that a boy, then young, then married, then middle age, then old age, then death. That is the cycle of a human being, right? Yes or no? That can be subjected to change. Okay, kids knows that art has its limitation. If it redeems experiences at all, it is not because it is eternal and unchanging, but rather because it offers beauty of a more rational kind. That is, it offers us a more profound comprehension of ourselves rather than allowing us to escape from the constraint of daily life. Is it clear, ma? Understood? Okay. Here, theme Ode to Nightingale, it is the comparison mortal to immortal. That is, he is comparing human life and the bird nightingale. Okay, human life is mortal and the bird nightingale is immortal. He is comparing here. Okay, guys, understood? Here, Ode to Nightingale, he refers that beauty of nature, okay, or human life, and it is also referring as a tragedy, and it says that nightingale as a symbol, okay, symbol of immortality, that is eternal life. Okay, there, is it clear, ma? The main theme is that it is impossible to experience joy unless one has also experienced melancholy. That is, here the main theme he is telling is, one is, it is impossible to experience only joy unless he has experienced the sadness. Okay, for example, the absence of a loved one intensifies the joy of reuniting as absence draws the heart fonder, right? Melancholy draws a strong hunger for happiness and joy. Is it clear? Okay. Here, if you have read To Kill a Mockingbird, you know why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. They do nothing but sing, so they do not harm humans in any way. They do not destroy property, they eat pesky insects, and their singing is beautiful. The bird's Anglo-Saxon name, nightingale, means night songstress. That is, the bird is eating the fly, okay, the pesky insects, and their songs is beautiful, their singing is beautiful. Here we should not kill the bird. It is a sin to kill a mockingbird. They do not do nothing, they do nothing but sing, so they do not harm humans in any way. Okay, they do not destroy any property, so we have to enjoy the song. Nightingale means night songstress. Okay, so what the poet is telling here is, we have to enjoy the singing of a bird. We should not kill that is the nature beauty of it. Okay. Here, the Nightingale song within the poem is connected to the art of music in a way that the urn in Ode on a Grecian urn, okay, is connected to the art of sculpture. As such, the nightingale would represent an enhancing, enchanting presence and, unlike the urn, is directly connected to nature as natural music. The song is for beauty and lacks a message of truth. Keats follows Coleridge's belief as found in the nightingale in separating from the world by losing himself in the bird's song. Although Keats favor a female nightingale over Coleridge's masculine bird, both reject the traditional depiction of the nightingale as related to the tragedy of Philomela. Their songbird is a happy nightingale that lacks the melancholic feel of previous poetic depictions. The bird is only a voice within the poem. The bird is only a voice within the poem, but it is a voice that compels the narrator to join within and forget the sorrows of the world. Here, the bird is only a voice within the poem, but it is compelling, the voice that compels the narrator, that compels Keats, to join within and forget the sorrows of the world, forgets the sorrows of the life. However, there is tension in that the narrator holds his Keats' guilt regarding the death of Tom Keats, his brother. The song's conclusion represents the result of trying to escape into the realm of fancy. That is, in between stanza, he says that he wants to be unseen and fly with nightingale, right? But soon after, he realizes that it is unavoidable. He has to accept the reality and accept the truth, accept the death. But what he's telling is human being is immortal, that is subject to death. But nightingale is not subject to death. That is, here he is not telling like that. That is, he is telling nightingale is immortal. Because nightingale's song will live forever. Can you get my points, girls? What he is telling in this poem? Yes? Then he says about all the feelings, pain, fever, and what are all the things he is having in his life. He says that. And after, at last, he accepts everything. He accepts the reality. Here you can see the hemlock. It is also a imagery. Leaf is a symbol, and dryad is also imagery used in this poem. Hemlock, a poison used by ancient Greek. Leaf, classical Greek. The 7 rivers of Hades, whoever drunk from its experience forgetfulness. And dryad, that is oak tree nymph, who were frequently shy. If you touch the leaves becomes they will fold themselves. That is, they frequently shy. That is dryad. Guys, these are all the images used in this poem. Here, after there is the nightingale uncovered is not merely an animal. Keats might mean it is to symbolize. Okay, nightingale as a joy, nightingale is Keats himself, and as well as a nature. Okay, then here we can see another images like he has used in Nightingale poem, that is Flora, Roman goddesses of flowers. Okay, and Hippocrene, that is Greek mythology, the fountain on Mount Helion that was sacred to the muses and formed by the hooves of Pegasus. Drinking the water brings poetic inspiration. Okay, this is also most important image used by Keats in Nightingale poetry. Is that clear? Okay. Then in the fourth stanza he uses the image of, that is Bacchus. Bacchus, a Greek god of wine and patron of theatre, also known as the liberator who would bring an end to care or worry. He would also preside over communication between the living and the dead. Okay, then he uses fays, that is Fays, fays, that is fairies. It is called about fairies. This is also imaginary images. Okay, and poesy, another name for poetry, that is fanciful poetry. Okay, here he uses these things in the fourth paragraph. Okay, is that clear, ma? Then in the fifth stanza he uses the symbols, that is the images, that is hawthorn, a flower that often marks that spring has arrived, that is May blossom, that is white flower. We used to say like white flower, which says us that it is by seeing the white flower we will come to know that May has come, that is the May blossom we can say. And enlighten means roses, one type of roses. Okay, fragrant, is it clear? That is smells, good smell. Is it clear, ma? Here in this stanza he has used the Ruth, a character from the Bible, a Moabite who, while working in the field, was seen by Boaz, who married her. She is referenced for her devotion to her mother-in-law after Boaz died, and she has achieved immortality for her deeds and because her descendant in David. Here he says about immortality, that is beyond the immortality of nature. Keats might also be commenting on the immortality of beauty, of how arts change like the moon but are constantly present. That is, here the reference of moon is like the first day moon we will see a hairline, right? Yes or no? And after that it gradually grows and the full moon, but it constantly present. Okay, we know that the moon is present. Yes or no? Okay, here despite the poet's indecision at the end of the poem, there is something to be gleaned from his words. Keats discussed the continuity of nature and in a way its constant changing through the references of seasons. Beyond the immortality of nature, Keats might also be commenting on the immortality of beauty, of how hearts change like the moon but are constantly present. Is it clear, ma? Can you get my points, girls? Here we'll see Keats' immortality. It is important to note that at the time Keats wrote this poem, he was ill, probably having contracted tuberculosis. His brother Tom had just died month before, There was no cure at the time for the disease, and it is speculated that he wrote Ode to Nightingale because he was aware of his own mortality. Keats died in Italy 2 months after staying with his friend at the age of 25. Okay, girls, have you understood everything? Here, in the previous classes, I have given you that introduction about the author, that is John Keats, and after that, explanation of first 3 stanzas, and after that the full poetry explanation. And today I am giving you this images, that is about theme, symbolism and imagery. It is also most important thing, girls. You have to understand it clearly. Okay girls, if you have any doubts, please do ask, girls. Then only I can come to know that you are having some doubts. So please do ask. Surely I'll clarify your doubts. Okay, thank you, girls. Take care. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.